Welcome to 8.7 Budgets and Technology. This is what I need from you. I need you to have a laptop. I also need your Chapter 8, you managing money. You need to have it open to 8.7 Budgets and Technology. Once you're logged into your laptop, you need to go to your Essential Mathematics team tile, the one that looks like mine. It's got a little calculator on it. You're going to click on that. You should automatically open to today's date. If not, scroll down to November 5th. And you are going to download 8.7 Budgets and Technology spreadsheets. So now this is an actual download. It's not just a link. So we're going to click on it. It'll take a few moments. So that way your first page when it pops up should look something like this. So what I need for you to do is to save it to your OneDrive. You're going to go up here to the top. You're going to go to File, Save As, and you're going to download the copy. So you're going to download a copy to your computer. And so somewhere at the bottom, you might see on the bottom right or somewhere down here at the bottom that it's downloading. Now once it's complete, that means we have to go looking for it. So unless of course it's still down on the bottom, you could probably just click on it and it'll open up for you. So for me, I have to go look at it. So I'm going to open up my file manager here, and it is going to be under downloads. And I can see that I've downloaded it here. And I'm just going to open it up. And it's open. There it is. I'm going to open it up. And it might say to enable editing at the top, and that's exactly what I want you to do. And then the next thing I want you to do is to File, Save As, and you're going to save it to your OneDrive, Lord Selkirk School Division 1 OneDrive. So the best way to do that is to go through Browse. You guys might be able to do it this way. You'd have to sign in, but I just go through Browse. And I find my OneDrive account. It says OneDrive already there. I'm linked in. And then I would just save it under here. You're going to save it with the whole name. If you want, you can keep the whole name. And then I'm just going to get rid of this bracket 1. And I'm just going to put my name in it. And then I'm just going to save it as Bercier. And I make sure that it's in a file or something. So I have an Essentials Mathematics file. And I'm going to save it in there. And it's there ready for me to use. All right. I'm just going to close this one. Okay, this is where you should pause so that way everybody gets caught up and that everybody has access to their spreadsheet. Your spreadsheet should be open, so I'm just going to close this because we don't need this anymore. You could do it right onto your thing, but I just want you to save it to your OneDrive just in case for some really silly reason that Teams decides not to do what it's supposed to do, because that has happened to my students in the past. So we're just going to close this, and you should be able to open up your 8.7 Budgets and Technology spreadsheets. Now you're not going to have your screen looking like this. I only have this specifically so that way you're looking at your page and you're looking at your screen for the spreadsheet at the same time. So just pause here until everyone's caught up, so that way they've got everything ready to rock and roll, and then we shall begin. All right, Welcome back. So looking at your page here, we're going to talk a little bit more about budget. So you did that in 8.6, and you had to think about some things about, fixed expenses and variable expenses. So just to recall that fixed expenses are expenses that happen every month and they have the same amount of money that comes out every single month. That could be like car loans, mortgages, rent, that type of thing. And variable expenses are bills that need to be paid every month as well, but the amount of money is different. That could be like your hydro bill, it could be groceries, that type of thing. So today we're going to be looking at a spreadsheet budget where it's everything that we plug in, and then we can see the changes that are being made, so that way we can make alterations, adaptations as we need in order to make sure that we have enough money at the end of the month to be able to survive on the income that we're given. So we're going to take a look at Carrie's here. So here Carrie is a medical lab technician. She also has part-time jobs. So how can Carrie use a spreadsheet to create a budget? So they have a whole pile of information that's right here, and I kind of have the same setup here for you guys. So lucky you, I've already created all this, and I just want to take a walk through it so that way you see what it is. So here we're listing off her incomes. So this would be her net income 1. That's her medical lab technician job. Net income 2 is one of her part-time jobs, and then another part-time job that she has that's semi-annually. And then these spaces that are here, right here, those are where we plug in our numbers. And as soon as we plug in those numbers here, then we're going to see some numbers appear here on the side. So I'm just going to plug in the same number that's over here on Carrie's monthly budget. $1,173. I'm going to punch that in here. I'm just going to move out of the cell, and then you're going to see that it changes. So this is her monthly income divided by 12. So this is what she gets paid semi-monthly, 24 pay periods, but we just want to know what it's going to be when we divide it by 12. Now, same thing with her net income, 2 biweekly 26 pay periods. This is what she gets paid, and then she gets paid 26 of those. So she only gets paid $264. And we get this amount over here, $575. Now, I want you to pay close attention. I'm going to click on this top one here, and you're going to see up here at the bar. So spreadsheets are mathematical calculators that help you to make calculations, and all you have to do is give it input. You have to give it information. But the thing is, you have to do all the back work first. And lucky you, I've done all the back work first for you. Now, sometimes, especially if you're taking accounting and things like that, having knowledge about a spreadsheet is incredibly useful, because then you can keep track of everything. And then there's programs out there that are already pre-built. That way you don't have to create it yourself. But this one I created so that way we can use this information here from our 8.7 budgets and technology example. So up here at the top, this is a calculation that is determined from cell B2, this one right here, and that's where I got that B2 here, and we're timesing it by 24 because she's got 24 pay periods. We find out what the total of that is, and then we divide it by 12 to find out what her monthly net income is, and that's how we get that $2,346. We do the same thing here. I'm just clicking on the cell so that way you can see the calculation that's inputted in here. So we're using information from cell B3, $264. We're timesing it by the 26 pay periods, and then we divide it by 12 to find out what the monthly net income in it is. So we get $572 for that one. And then her last job that she has, it's $138 in total, and it's semi-annually. I'm just going to move off to the side here. so that way we can see the calculation. And I'm just going to click into cell D4 here. And you can see the equation up here that tells you that we're taking the information from cell B4, this one, and we're timesing it by 2 because it's twice a year, and then dividing by 2 in order to find out, or dividing by 12, sorry, to find out how much income it is for the entire year per month. And now, because all of these pieces of information were already calculated, because all we did was stick it all in here, we've also determined the total monthly income. So I'm just clicking in cell D5, and you can see that there's an equation in here, the sum of the cells D2 all the way to D4. So from here all the way to here, they are added up together in order to give us the total amount in D5. So I just want you to kind of take a look. In here, you're going to see that there's another sum here, and that's for the fixed expenses. That's in cell B20. And the same thing here in D20. For the variable expenses, you're going to see that there's a sum here as well. And as we were putting information here, and then there's a bunch of information that started calculating down here at the bottom in cell B22. And you can see that it just says equals D5. So here's D5 way over here. We're just taking this amount and just kind of sliding it over here. It's doing it for us automatically. And then we're going to see that there are going to be some other calculations in relation to D5 and also with our expenses. So here's our two expenses. We've got B20 is the total, and then D20 is the total. And the total monthly expenses would be from cells B20 and D20. We don't have anything in there yet, but we will. And then you'll see this number change. And then it says here savings of 10% of the monthly income. It's already done automatically, as you can see up here at the top. So we're taking from B22, which is this one, and we're timesing by 0.10 or 0.1 in order to find that 10% monthly income. And then the last calculation is in here in B25. So we are taking the information from B22, subtracting B23, and subtracting B24 to determine if it's going to be a surplus or a deficit. So remember, a surplus is that there's extra money that's left over at the end of the month, basically after everything's been paid off. And a deficit is that there's not enough money. So that may mean that a person has over budgeted for something, or maybe there was an expense that showed up that was not expected, and so it may have thrown off the entire budget, and other adjustments may have to be made. So this is what I need you to do. So if we take a look here at 8.7, you've got some information about the fixed expenses. I would like for you to fill in that information and put it into the appropriate cells. Now you're going to see here's education, tuition, and books. There's nothing there. I've already got a little line in there, so just leave it. You don't need to do anything about it. Same thing with credit card 1 and credit card 2. You don't need anything. And loans. Those ones you can just leave blank for right now. Same thing with pet care. Over here, you just leave it blank. It says pert care, but it should be pet care. So you're going to fill in your information. I want you to do that. So in that way you can be aware of the numbers that are changing as you put it in. And I'm going to do this quickly as well, so that way we can take a look at the questions. Now remember, to be accurate as you're putting your information in, yeah, I know that we all make mistakes, I do too, because sometimes just a little change will throw off your whole calculation and even your answers. And the nice part about this is that as you're inputting the information, the calculations are all being done for you. That's the beauty of a spreadsheet. But the thing is, you have to do all the back work first. Now, I'm not sure why this is highlighted, but don't worry about it. It doesn't affect our calculation. Oops. So once you've got everything punched in, you're going to see that it's going to tally the fixed expenses and it's going to tally up all of the variable expenses for you. And that's the beauty of it. You just punch in the information and it does all the work. It's very handy to have, especially if you're creating your very own budget for yourself. So now we're just going to take a look at the information. So we've got everything that we need. We're just going to take a look at the next page here. And we've done all of that. So we don't need to worry about this stuff because I've already done it already for you. So we're going to take a look at the example. So it says here, suppose Carrie's situation changes as a result of the following. So actually we're going to just back up for just a second. So we're going to go back here. So with everything that she's got, is she in a surplus or a deficit? So we're going to take a look down here at the bottom. As long as it says $279.56 and it's showing it as a plus, meaning that there's no negative sign beside it, then that definitely means that she has a surplus. So she's got about $280 left at the end of everything. So she's doing not too bad when it comes to her monthly budget. Pretty tight, but still not too bad. So she does have some extra money. Now we're going to jump back to our booklet. So now we're going to take a look at the example. So suppose Carrie's situation changes as the result of the following. She gets a raise of $285 net. So that means that here, from her medical job, which is her first job, she's going to get a raise of $285. And we're going to add it to what we've got here. So that's $1,173 plus the $285. So we're going to change this number. And we should put in the number that should be there now. And it's going to be $1,458. You can see that right there. So now she decides to quit her second job. So that means that she's got nothing going on, and then we're just going to put 0. But then her rent increases to $960 per month. So $960. And instead of her vacation budget, she budgets $180 per month for a trip to Paris. So this $72 now becomes $180. Her transportation costs increase by $24 per month. So here we're going to add $24 on top of that, so it's $123.50. So plus 24, and we get $147.50. And then she decides to adopt a dog, and the pet care expenses are $74 a month. Where it says per care, it should say pet care. So it's $74. We're going to put that in there. And how do these changes affect Carrie's spreadsheet budget? So when we took a look before, she had about $280 surplus. So now with all these extra things, we see that she's got a surplus of only $36.76. So now she's really tight. So you should be able to answer these questions based upon the information that we made changes to. So I'll give you a few moments in order to do that. You can pause right here in order to help you. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next part. So you're going to take a look down at the bottom of your spreadsheet, and you're going to see Esther and Paulo budget 1, 2, and 3. So the first one you're going to do is click on is Esther and Paulo budget, the first one. I'm just going to flip to our next page here, and you're going to do the practice. Come back here. So with Esther and Paulo's monthly budget, you've got some information here. I've got everything set up for you. You just have to input the information and then record it here. So for number one, it says Esther has a monthly income of $3,245. And then Paulo earns $1,460 biweekly. So if you take a look here at the top, we've got Esther's monthly net income. I've put it in there, $3,245. And then we've got Paulo's monthly income, which I've already done a calculation for. $1,460 times by 26 because it's bi-weekly, and dividing it by 12. So this is how much he makes per month. And here we've got information for the total monthly sum for their budget. So they make about $6,408.33 per month. That's not bad. So now there's a bunch of information here that you need to input. Some of it is fixed expenses and some of it is variable expenses. There are some that are going to be left blank, and that is okay because you may need it for the next time. Now there's some information here that says annual expenses. So we've got like insurance here, $4,284. That's this one right here. You're going to notice that there's a number there. So here you actually have to figure this one out because it's an annual expense. You're going to have to divide this by 12 in order to find out what the number should be in here. Same thing with the gym membership. This is the annual expense. You're going to have to divide this by 12 in order to put the actual number in here. So be very careful that you are doing that. Otherwise, you're going to throw everything off. Once you've got everything included and put it into your spreadsheet, you should be able to see the changes that are happening here for Esther and Paulo's budget for question number one. And then you can answer your questions here. What is the value for each? What's their total monthly income, their total monthly expenses? What's the savings, and if it's a surplus or deficit? And then you just answer the question. Do Paulo and Esther have a surplus or deficit? Is this a problem right now? Do you think they might run into financial problems later with this budget? Explain. Then you're going to move on to question 2. So here's question 2 down here at the bottom of your page. And if you take a look at your spreadsheet, you're going to see Esther and Paulo question 2. So it's inputted the same thing in terms of their income, but now we've got a change. It says Esther's income increases by $100 per month compared to question 1. So you're going to add $100 on top of that. And they had finished paying their student loans. So what they had for student loans prior, this $544, it's no longer there. So you can delete that. And you're going to make those changes here in the spreadsheet. And then you should be able to answer the rest of the questions. And then the last part is looking at number 3. You're still working with Paulo and Esther's mortgage, but this in question 1. But this time, you're going to use your spreadsheet and you're going to see a new tab at the bottom that says Esther and Paulo budget question 3. But this time, you're just ignoring the changes that you did in question 2. So that's why the information is the same as the setup in question number 1. So just follow the information. Question number 1's increased to $1,632. That's their mortgage, so that number would change there. Their property taxes went up $298. You'd make the change there. They adopted a pet, make the change in there. And they needed to replace the roof, and they will make the payments of $500 for 24 months. And you'd make that change there. Now, be careful. It says $500 for 24 months. Now, this is just for a monthly budget, so that means that this is only $500 in here. Okay, be careful with that. And then you should be able to answer the questions. All the other stuff that should be inputted in here, you should have it already in there. And then you should be able to answer these questions all the way down to F. And then you should be complete. This should probably take you the majority of the class in order to complete. If you're having some real problems, please ask the adults in the classroom. And if you have a question that maybe the adults can't ask you, or maybe you're doing this at home, you can always send me a chat through Teams, and I'll help you out as best as I can. You can send me a text. You all know my cell number. Or you can always send me an email, and I'll be happy to help you. So please make sure that you're careful as you're inputting your information as best as you can. Then once you're complete, I want you to hit that save button. Hit that save button often, so that way you're saving it as you go along. Once you are all done, you're going to email me this file, so that way I can mark it and see what you've been doing. And then I'm going to take a look at all of your questions as well. All right. I hope you do okay. Please let me know if you need some help. Let any of our adults know if you need some help. Please make sure that you're using your time wisely, and that you're putting your information in as accurately as possible. And I will see you soon.